All right, 54. We finally made it. We're just a few from the final stretch here. So last one of this section, and then we're going to get into some word problems. And then practice test number 3 is we're going to close the books on it. So again, let's go ahead and take a look here. We're going to find all solutions by factoring. So when we see those directions, we know we want to go ahead and put all of our terms on one side and then set the equation equal to 0. But before we can do that, on the left-hand side, we have two things that we really should FOIL out first before we start moving any terms around. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and FOIL this out and see what we end up with. So 3x times x, well, that's going to give us 3x squared. And 3x times negative 6 is going to give us negative 18x. And 3 times x will give us plus 3x. And 3 times negative 6 will give us negative 18. And now that equals 25x minus 118. All right, let's go ahead and combine some like terms here on the left-hand side and clean this up just a little bit, and then we'll start moving some things. So we have 3x squared, and negative 18x plus 3x is going to give us minus 15x minus 18 equals our 25x minus 118. And now that we've simplified the left and right as much as we can, let's go ahead and move these two terms from the right to the left so that we can set this equation equal to 0. So we'll subtract 25x and we'll add 118. So subtract 25x, add 118. So that leaves us with 3x squared. And now negative 15x minus 25x gives us minus 40x. Negative 18 plus 118 gives us plus 100 equals, and now the right-hand side canceled out, so we're left with 0 on the right-hand side. So now we have all of our terms on the left-hand side, and our equation is set equal to 0. So now we can go ahead and proceed and ask ourselves question 1, is there a GCF present? I don't think so. So question number 2, how many terms are there? Well, 1, 2, 3. So we are going to either be using scissors or factor by the AC method or the trial and error method. Let's go ahead and use scissors. So we're looking for factors of 3 because that's the coefficient of our x squared term, and factors of 100 that add to give us negative 40. Well, what are the factors of 3? Well, just 1 and 3, so that's not too bad. And factors of 100, well, let's see, we have 1 and 100, we have 2 and 50, 3 doesn't work, 4 and 25, 5 and 20, 6, 7, 8, 9, how about 10 and 10? All right, and again, 9 times out of 10, you want to start with the factors that are closest together. And in this case, with the 3, we didn't have much of a choice. We had to choose 1 and 3. And here we're dealing with 10 and 10. And normally we would flip these to create a second combination, but if we flip 10 and 10, that's not going to change anything, right? Because these are the same numbers. So now let's go ahead and cross multiply. This is where we get the term scissors, because it looks like a little pair of scissors. So 1 times 10 gives us 10. 3 times 10 gives us 30. Can I, in some combination, add 30 and 10 together to get a negative 40? Yeah, I sure can. If each of these was a negative, negative 30 plus negative 10 gives us negative 40. And so whatever sign we put with the cross product is just going to bounce over. So we put minuses with both. So we're going to bounce those two minus signs over. And let's go ahead now and wrap our factors in parentheses. And so what we end up with now is 1, and we're dealing with x, so 1x, or just x minus 10. And then 3x minus 10 here. 3x minus 10. Don't forget, equals 0. And now that we factored the left-hand side, we can go ahead and independently set each of these factors equal to 0. So I'll go ahead and do it up here. So we have x minus 10 equals 0. And we have 3x minus 10 equals 0. Solving for x now, we'll add 10, we'll add 10, so we get x equals 10. And here on the right, add 10, so we get 3x equals 10. Last step, divide by 3, so x equals 10 over 3. All right, so there they are, the two solutions for number 54. And again, you could plug each of these solutions back in and you should get a true statement. And you could either plug this into the original equation here, which might be a little bit more work, or you could take each of these, x equals 10, x equals 10 over 3, and plug them into this quadratic equation here. And when you do that, the left-hand side should equal 0 when you plug in each of these values. All right, so there you have it, number 54. And with that, like I said, we are now tongue twister. We are now going to get into the word problems, and some of these can be tricky. So I hope you stay with me, and I will see you there.